Yo, what's going on, fam? It's your boy, Anthony ONeal. And y'all, I'm going to keep it 100. We're going to try something new today because last month we had an awesome panel discussion. And I keep hearing you all say, you know what, Anthony needs his own show. But to help me kick it off is two of my great friends. They work with me. One's a stylist. One is killing the game. The other one is George Camel. George leads. Why you laugh?
That hurts.
I was coming back to him.
He was coming back. He was going to get there.
No, okay, just start over. Go for it. Go ahead.
No, I ain't starting over. No, I'm just playing. Can we start over? Because he laughed.
Just keep going.
I'm going to keep going.
I'll fix it in post.
Man, sitting with me in the studio today. Actually, you know what? No, not sitting with me in the studio, sitting with me at the table, the table today. It's two of my good friends. First and foremost is George. George is also our MC for all of our events. He is a speaker. He is an author himself. He is a musician. He is a model. He is all of that and above. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the table, George Campbell.
Thank you. I imagine they're going to put applause in.
Coming up next, man, is my man. One of the cleanest guys around this office when it comes to dressing. His name is Damarea. Damarea, what do you do here at Ramsey Solutions again? I forgot the title for you.
Outside of styling people, I'm a designer.
There you go. He is a designer, clearly, because he's styling people. And so, man, I'm excited about having a conversation with you all, and thanks so much for joining me and helping me try something new. I want to dive into something that I seen on the news here. It's an article called, Does Money Really Ruin Friendships? Okay. I'm going to read the first paragraph, and I want to get your thoughts on it. This young lady says, when I was 20, my best friend and I used to buy our wine out of an actual bin in the corner of our local shop. Each bottle of wine cost about maybe $4. We were both students, both living off loan payments, both concerned about having a good time rather than getting paid. Now today, my friend, she owns a house, a car, and has a partner with a well-paid job. I earned so little over the last year financially that I have not even made the threshold to owe taxes. Our friendship is different. So I got to ask this question. Do you all have any friends that when you all got into your specific career field, that your money changed or ruined your friendship?
I don't know that I would say that money ruined the relationship.
Okay.
I think just like life circumstances. So I'm married.
Okay.
So
How many kids you have?
I am working on my first child. My wife is pregnant.
Oh, she's pregnant?
Yeah.
Wait, does the company know? Did we just put it out there?
Nah, everybody knows.
Okay, cool.
We didn't know.
I thought it was
I guess we're not everybody.
Yeah, there we
I
go.
sure didn't know.
I'm sorry. You guys know now. She's
Well,
due
hey,
in April,
congrats.
which
That's
is like
big.
We
yeah.
just found out at the table.
There we go. Now
Congrats,
YouTube knows
man.
and everything. Thank you. Thank
Yes,
you.
sir. So you
first
got
child.
a wife, kid on the way.
Yep.
So circumstances is
Yes.
what you're saying.
So like my single friend, and I feel like this happens a lot of like someone who's single, when you're like single together and then one person gets married, it seems like the relationship changes because it does. Like one person is single and another person is married. So the circumstances, like my responsibilities are now different than his responsibilities. And so that changed our relationships. And it just so happened that I was also making more
Good money.
Yeah. But I had a good job when we lived together. Like he and I were roommates and I had a good job when we lived together.
Okay.
But then I got married and that changed our relationship
I love
because he's just not married. So there's just certain things, not that single people can't understand anything that a married person goes through.
Right.
But there's just differences in responsibilities that you have. So
There is. You're married too.
Yeah.
No kids.
No
I know
kids.
that.
And it's different. Like when I see couples with kids, there is a different element that we're like, oh, they got the kids.
Yeah.
They're not going to be as willing. They've got to find the babysitter. So there are things that changes with your lifestyle. But I have found that if I have friends that are making more money than me and they're always asking me to hang out, that's going to bust my budget more than anything. So it's not that I don't want to be friends with them. It's not that it's ruined anything. But it's like I can't go out and spend $150 on a Saturday night casually like they can.
Wow.
And
you
so
know
that
what?
creates some tension because I know, hey, I'd love to hang out. I'm busy. But the truth is, I know it's going to be $150 night, and I can't bust the budget doing that just to maintain this friendship.
I got to read this because when you said that, Simone Bowles, I think that's her name. She is a relationship counselor. She says instead of using accusations like you always want to go to fancy places or you use your money as an excuse to get out of things, she said Bowles recommends being open and centering your feelings instead, saying I'm feeling anxious about money and can't afford to go to these particular places. Or I feel sad that we don't see each other as much as we used to. So what you're saying is like if you have a friend that makes a little bit more money and you're on a certain budget and you know your friend wants to go to these nice restaurants, you're saying that I can't do that because you already know it's going to be more than what you can spend.
Yeah. And I think we just have different, financial goals. So one of our goals is to pay off our house early. So that means there's less money in the going out budget, right? But their lifestyle may say, you know what? I really love experiences. I love food. I'm not as concerned with paying off a house or buying a house. And so I think it's...
But George, you just bought your house.
Yeah, and we're already going after it.
How old are you?
Just turned 30.
How old is your wife?
She's 20, just turned 29.
And you guys are already focused on paying off your home.
Yeah, it'll be done in 4 years or less.
What's wrong with
that's
you?
Our goal. I don't know. I think it's because we work here. I've been hanging out with Dave too much.
They're weird people.
But, we see a lot of opportunity
Yeah.
in those financial goals where we still value experiences. We want to be intentional and still go on vacation and you're not going to sit at home and just count our money and be shrewd like that. But there is an element of finding people around you that are like-minded in their financial goals. And so maybe you don't have to ruin the friendship. Maybe it's, hey, you want to come over? We'll just make a cheap dinner. It doesn't always have to be on their terms, but I think that goes into boundaries and being able to have those hard conversations saying, hey, this isn't in the budget, but I'd love if you could just come over. We can have a drink at the house. We can make a cheap meal, watch a movie. And so you can make it on your terms, but that involves having a hard conversation.
Yeah, and that's what I was going to say. Like, I agree with George. It seems like whatever's happening in this friendship isn't necessarily about the money. Like, if that's the thing that's going to break your friendship down, did you really have a friendship in the first place? But if you're willing to have those hard conversations and say, like, hey, this is, like, I am not making this much money. I'm not making as much money as you're making, so we need to do something that's a little cheaper. I doubt a good friend who's making more money is going to be like, no, I want to go to this fancy restaurant.
Right.
Like, who's going to say that?
Absolutely.
What kind of friend is going to say
and
that?
I think there's an element that the person making less money, it's probably more on their terms. I don't think the person making more money is going, I don't want to hang out with you because you make less money.
Absolutely.
I think there's a
Probably
little bit of that,
intimidation.
maybe some envy, some intimidation, where they're going, I'm lesser than. Maybe it's a self-esteem thing because we're tied. Our self-esteem is directly tied into how much money we make a lot of the time. Unfortunately, people say, well, I make minimum wage. I'm not going to hang out with this guy who makes $80,000 because I'll feel lesser than.
One word that you all said that I kind of disagree with, and tell me your thoughts on it, because I love you both. But you all said cheap often. Let's go to a cheaper restaurant. I don't like the word cheap. I like the word affordable.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Because it's like cheap feels like, I'm cheap. When I'm not cheap, and y'all are not cheap. We know you ain't cheap. Look at you right now.
It's very clear to me. Yeah.
But it's like, how do we change the vocabulary from cheap to let's go somewhere a little bit more affordable, or can we do something that is more affordable? Let's buy an affordable house. See, an affordable house to you, and to myself may be different, but it's affordable for all of us. And just because my house may cost less than yours doesn't mean that it's a cheap house or I have a cheap car. If it costs me money, it costs me money.
So just like, instead of cheap, something in my price range.
That's it. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that for sure.
Like you said, off-white. You thought this was an off-white.
It could be.
No, it's not an off-white.
It's not, but it could
You know what
be.
I'm saying? But I was like, that's just not in my budget right now. I don't want to spend $2,000 for a sweater when I can take that money and flip it, Flip it, pay off my house like George, go buy some more land, go do something. But I ain't cheap. I'm just wise.
I like that.
When you say it like that.
Well, I think
love
a
it.
big part of this is finding people who understand your goals and respect your goals. And so if I say, hey, let's go somewhere more affordable, I'm really trying to keep it under my budget, and they go, nope, that's stupid. And then it's clear that you don't respect my goals. And so maybe that's not a long-term friend. Maybe that's a once-in-a-while friend, someone you just see kind of every now and then. But I think your friends who go deep, who are your people, I think those are the ones that are going to respect your goals and be willing to compromise.
I love it. I love it. Yo, if you're just now tuning in, man, it's your boy Anthony ONeal. I'm at the table with my good friends George and Damarea. And, man, if you have not subscribed I want you to hit that subscribe button right now. Hit the bell. But let's go deeper, you guys. When we think about this conversation, would you all agree with me when I say, or what's your thoughts on this? Are we defined by the culture we grow up in?
Are we defined by the culture we grow up in?
Are we defined by the culture? I didn't
so?
say race, I said culture. So how we were raised. I grew up in the Church of God in Christ culture. I grew up in the Pentecostal culture. I grew up in the country. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's tongues.
I was around that.
Yes. And so, for me, how I perceive things, even my grammar, how I talk, comes from the culture that I grew up in. I add S's to a lot of words. That is probably not the most proper thing, but it was the culture that I grew up in. So would you all say that we are defined by that?
I'm going to jump in here.
Yeah.
I think defined is too strong of a word.
I
I think we are
exact same
shaped by the culture we grow up in.
So wait.
Influenced.
Influence. Okay, so what's your definition of defined then right now?
What is your definition?
Defined feels like there is nothing I can do about it. There's a victim mentality built into the word defined, and the way a lot of people use it.
Okay.
And I just think shaped is a better word. And because you can change that. You can tweak things there. But I do think you can't get away from the fact that we are shaped by the culture that we grew up in. And that's not a bad thing.
Yeah. I love it.
For better or worse. And I think if you feel like this hurt me, the culture I grew up in hurt me, well, there may be more obstacles for you to overcome.
Yeah.
And if you had a great culture and everything's great, then you were living a great life, and that shaped you as well. But I think it's hard to say defined because things can change over time. And you know that from
Absolutely.
your past to where you are now.
Yeah.
If you just decided my past and my culture defined me, you might be in a different place right now.
That's good. So you were saying shaped you.
Yeah, I agree with George. I would say defined is too strong of a word.
Okay.
And I wouldn't use that for myself. I would say that I'm more influenced by the culture that I was raised in.
I like that.
So I grew up hard circumstances, South Central Los Angeles.
Okay.
LA.
LA. Let's
Gang
go.
violence all around. But I'm not in a gang, nor have I ever been in a gang. But
Right.
if I was defined by that culture, that would mean that I look at my path and I'm like, okay, well, I've got to be in a gang in order to fit in with the culture that I'm a part of. But I think in the same way that you can be influenced by one culture, you can move to another place and be influenced by another culture.
So let's sit on that word right there, influence. From the culture that you two grew up in, from the money perspective, what was the influence there? Was it, get the credit score, get the money, or was it stack bread? I'm curious because you and your wife right now are on a mission to pay off y'all's house. What was the influence there? Did you have, because I didn't have positive influence when it came to my culture growing up. It was, just graduate, get the student loans, get a good credit score, and just keep your bills below 30% if you borrow. So if you got a credit card, keep it below 30%. If you, got the credit card, do that. If you get a student loan or if you get a car payment, pay it off on time. But no one really taught me how to invest, how to start a business, what is a savings. So I'm curious, from your upbringing, what was the influence there?
Yeah, I'll jump in. I would say my influence is very similar to yours of just not having a lot of money knowledge growing up. Like my mom never sat me down and said, this is what it looks like to budget, or this is what it looks like to plan for the future. Like a lot of the things that we did were just kind of spur of the moment. And my mom did an amazing job of raising us. Like it was me and 5 other siblings and a single mom. So she did an amazing job. The fact that I'm here, she did a phenomenal job of raising me. Not knocking my mom at all.
Yeah.
But I think because she didn't have that knowledge and understanding, she couldn't pass it on to me. But I think once I grew up and started getting other influences, like started meeting other people, started getting mentors, meeting people that could pour into me the knowledge that they had, that opened up my mind a lot to where I was like, oh, okay, I never learned these things. Yeah, it's a little bit harder for me to get them now, but that doesn't mean that I can't learn them now. And now I'm working here. Dave Ramsey.
Yeah.
Sitting with Anthony. Sitting with Camel Lights right now.
Sitting at the table, brother. That's what I'm talking about. So before we go to George, question for you. What is one thing you're going to change to influence your child?
There's so many things.
Just give me one. Just one main thing You have a child coming. You're gonna be a young father, dope father. Child's gonna have a dope mother. What is one thing what's the culture you want to create for your child growing up?
I would say one big thing that I'm planning to do, my wife and I are planning to do, is teaching our kids that you work for money.
That's it.
I think the biggest thing that, like, when I went to college, it was like you got this refund check and you just spent it on whatever. You didn't have to work for it. You just got it for free, it seemed like. We all know now that it is not free. That is not at all free. So teaching my kids that you work and money comes from that work at a young age, I feel like it's huge.
George, talk
good.
to us a little bit about your culture and upbringing, man.
Mine's an interesting one. People may not guess it, but I grew up to immigrant parents who immigrated from the Middle East.
For real?
Yes.
I didn't know that.
I know. It's a fun fact.
Wow.
But my dad is from Egypt. My mom is from Syria.
Okay.
And so growing up with a very immigrant culture, I grew up in an Arabic evangelical Baptist church outside of Boston, Massachusetts, in a very Irish Italian Catholic town. So it was a very strange bubble to exist in, but we had our Arabic community. And the Middle Eastern community is tight-knit, very hospitable, very warm, but they don't talk about money.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, we're very frugal. So
Yeah.
I grew up in a very frugal house. I remember couponing on Sundays with my dad, and we had a blast doing it. But we never talked about money. It was just one of those things where it was like, all right, Dad kind of handles it. I don't know what he's doing, but the student loans are covered. He's going to sign the Parent Plus loan. And so I didn't really learn about money until I started working for Dave. And I went, oh, they were playing the game.
Yeah.
They immigrated here going, we have to adapt to this American culture. And the way you do that is you got to build the credit score. You got to have the credit cards. And we're going to move this around to the 0% card. And so they spent their whole life playing the game.
Wow.
And so they did well. We grew up in a middle class home, but I didn't really understand that what they were doing wasn't the right thing to do with money. I thought, well, they're doing all right. We're not struggling. I can get the things I want. And I don't think about it.
Yeah.
And so I wish that I had learned more of that work ethic. I wish I had learned that the credit card game is not the game you want to be playing. You want to be building wealth,
Yeah.
not trying to build a credit score.
So when you think about the culture that you and your wife are creating now, and I do remember us talking, and kids are in the future.
Yeah.
What are you all working on now to create within the culture that you all have now for your future children?
The biggest thing that we talk about is we want to have options. And that's a different ballgame
Yes,
when
sir.
you're talking about the amount of opportunities. If we pay off our house, then she can decide to stay home. It's not even a conversation.
Wow.
It's just, yeah, all right, do it.
Yeah.
And it's not a fight. It's not how are we going to make it? How are we going to pay the bills? It's, hey, where do you want to go in Europe this year? It's not, can we afford to go on vacation?
Yeah.
Hey, what kind of car do you want to buy? It's not, can we afford the car?
What kind of car does your wife want to buy?
Oh, well,
I gotta ask this question.
I got the mindset that she deserves a nice car. She's a working woman. And I made the mistake of saying, well, for that kind of money, you could probably get a nice used luxury car. So now she's got her mind on luxury. And everything's luxury. She wants the Pelotons, the Louis Vuittons, the French Bull. If it's got Vuitton or any kind of that sound in there, she wants it.
But you know what? You said it, though. If you are debt-free, you
Yes.
got options.
Yes. And so now really our struggles are first world problems of, well, what are our priorities? Do we want to save more for vacation or do
Yep.
we want to save more for a new car?
That's
or
good.
do we want to pay off the house even earlier? And so we just have so many options. And that's what I want to pass down to my kids
Yeah.
is that when you're in debt, you don't have options.
Yeah.
You have obligations.
Yeah. Yo, if you just now tuned in, you're sitting at the table with Anthony ONeal, George Camel, and my man Damarea. Man, we're just having a conversation about life, about money, relevant stuff. If you haven't subscribed, please hit that subscribe button because, yo, this is a new segment. It's a new show. I want to know what you're thinking. Let me know if you like it. Let me know what you want to see at the table. I like this.
It's a nice
At the
table.
It's a beautiful table.
But yo, so we're talking about our culture. We're talking about our influence. What is one thing that you've learned within the last 1 year that has shifted your perspective on life or on money? Both of you all are married. I'm single. What is one thing that you all have learned recently? Because I had the philosophy of every single day I should be learning one thing. Because I do know my culture raised me up and the grammar wasn't as positive as far as incorrect. I teach myself a new word every single day. I read a book for 1 hour every single day, and I read it out loud for 2 things: learn how to articulate better, and then also to just gain knowledge and gain wisdom. So every single day I'm learning something. What is one thing within the last year you all have learned?
I think on the life side, I've been in a season where I have a lot of ideas and I want things to happen and I've got goals, and if I can write it down on paper, I feel like it should happen now. And so what I'm learning is that God's timing is very different from my timing, and that's a great thing.
Yeah.
Just having that patience. And that's something that, growing up in an instant gratification culture where we just feel like if we think about it, it should be happening right now. If I want to pay off my debt, it should happen right now. And realizing the amount of work that those things take and the things that are going on behind the scenes, that God's timing is what really matters. And whenever that happens, when you do it that way, it's always going to end up better than you trying to force that on your own time. And so that's just kind of a life principle, at work and my personal life with our financial goals at home, is that these things take time. Yeah, I want to pay off my house right now, but what it's going to take is throwing big chunks every single month over years. And that feels like a long time. Even 4 years feels like a long time to us.
Yeah, it does.
But realizing that we got to run our own race, and just because, Anthony's got a paid for house doesn't mean that that's going to happen for us tomorrow, and that's okay. So there's a lot of this patience mixed with running your own race that I'm realizing is a really healthy place to be.
That's good. That's
awesome. Dude, so I've been reading this book by David Goggins. You guys heard of him?
Yeah. What book are you reading?
Can't Hurt Me.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I finished it. So this guy is insane. Like, he's crazy. But one of the biggest things that I'm learning from that is just the capacity that we have, like the potential that we have as humans, and how we're so limited by our minds. Like, our mindset is the thing that limits us. So he goes through this whole process of, like, he's abused as a kid. His father abused him. He ended up trying to go to the Navy or to the SEALs or whatever, and then dropped out, got super overweight, but then got to this place where he was like, you know what, I'm going to try and do this thing. And just became this like ultra athlete, running 100-mile marathons on broken feet. And just like, as he's going through those things, realizing that the thing that's propelling him forward is his mind and his mindset, and that he's always searching for something that's going to push him further. And so just learning like about the capacity that my mind has, and that all of our minds have. Like, this guy he's nothing special. He's only special because he's decided to do things that other people aren't willing to do. And so how does that translate into the work that I'm doing? How does that translate into my relationship with my wife? Or, does that mean when I come home and I don't feel like doing the dishes, I do the dishes? Doing something like doing those hard things and realizing that the limitations that I have are in my mind. Like, I'm running a mile every day for the whole year, and just realizing that most days I wouldn't want to do that or choose to do that. So I've had to put money behind it. Like, I've got a group of my friends, and I'm like, look, me and you, $200 to whoever completes the goal. Like, if I don't do it, then...
Can I get on that?
Hey, you want to? Because we can
$200. We're going to up it?
We can.
No, I'm just trying to get it 200.
Okay, 200. You can jump in on 200. Look, anybody can.
For real?
Yeah.
Y'all want 200? Come run with us.
But it gives you that little push of like, okay, I've got the accountability from my friends.
Yeah.
We're all in this together.
Yeah.
And every day I'm thinking, I got to do this thing that I do not want to do. But as I'm doing it, it's teaching me that, like, I have the capability of doing this thing. I didn't think, I hate running.
Yeah.
Like, I hate running. Exactly. So, like, pushing myself to do something that I hate doing. Like, you probably don't love reading out loud.
I do not.
But you do it because you have to do it and you want to get better. And you know that you won't get better unless you do it. And that's the same thing. Like, I was like, I'm getting fat. Like, this midsection is not what I enjoy
you
having.
and I both, bro.
It's called a dad bod. That's in style
But
right now.
I don't want the dad bod. That's the thing, is like, I don't want
Your
it.
wife don't want that neither, bro. That's real talk, and I like that. And we're going to put the name of that book and the author and below, because I really want y'all to read that. It's a great book. But one of the things that I've learned, I listened to a podcast by one of my most favorite preachers. His name is Pastor Darius Daniels. And he said something that shook me about a couple of months ago that I've really been learning and applying to my life. And he said, oftentimes people, what we do is we sugarcoat how we truly feel about something. If someone asks you a question, hey, how did you feel about this? Or are you okay about this? Our first response 9 times out of 10 is, it's cool, it's whatever. And then what he was saying is when you say that and that's not the truth, what you're teaching the other individual is that your feelings don't matter. And so he was like, instead of you can say the truth and be respectful, but you don't have to say the truth and be disrespectful. So one thing with me, even here at the office, sometimes I have to, when I'm asked a question, yes, I have to think about how am I going to articulate my feelings, but I have to teach you all, everyone who I work with, that my feelings matter. Because if I keep sugarcoating something and say, well, it's cool or it's okay, then what you're thinking is Anthony is okay.
Yeah, definitely.
But you don't really understand the truth. And then I can't get upset at you because you're not aware of the truth. And so one thing I'm teaching myself is teach people that my feelings matter. And respect their feelings because their feelings matter, which led me to a book that I'm reading. And all month, I'm going to be talking about this book, and it's titled, Why Are We Yelling? It's teaching me how to have a productive and a healthy argument.
Without yelling?
Without yelling. You know, because I like to yell. I'm a communicator. And so I'm learning how to have an argument, teach people that my feelings matter, hear their feelings, and then also how do we have a productive disagreement? And I believe that that's important. So keep it locked, y'all, because we're going to be talking about that. I'm going to put both of these books in the description below. If you're watching this on Instagram, I'll make sure you have it there. Yo, we're going to go into the studio. I like to end the show here with something fun that my main man, my producer, what's your name, man? I'm just playing.
Hi, my name is Connor.
Connor came up with, and I think it's dope. So he's going to ask us what is it?
So this is actually a would you rather question, and it's for you guys and your audience. I'm going to throw a poll up so they can vote as well. You guys ready?
Okay. Would you rather?
It's a would you rather question, but it has to do with money. Are you ready?
Do we need to? I was about to say, do we need to pray about this question?
No, I think this one's a pretty easy one. Maybe the next ones you might have to pray about, but this one's pretty easy. So, would you rather have a year off of work and receive the salary you're getting paid now, or work 365 days with no time off and get triple the salary you're getting paid now?
Goodness.
Say it one more time.
So, would you rather have a year off and get paid exactly what you're getting paid now, or have no time off and get paid triple what you're getting paid right now?
All right.
So keep my job, but get a year off, or work every single day.
And get triple amount.
I'm going to have to check with my wife first. I feel like she might want me to do the year off thing.
The year off?
Yeah, because, I mean,
Get the
we're
same
fine.
money.
Yeah.
Right. I feel you.
Yeah. I'm going to take the year off. I don't think this person who came up with this question is good at math because you're working maybe 250 days a year, right?
Right.
And you're getting a full year salary for not working.
Right.
And the next year, you're working, getting that salary. So you're working, 400 or 500 days versus 365 straight for triple. So I think I'd burn out.
Yeah.
I'd be happy with a year off and come back fresh.
You could probably have a whole nother job in this year off. I'm getting 2 salaries now.
See, you two are coming from married perspectives.
That's true. I'm going to stay married.
I'm a single man. All I have is time. Connor, I'm taking the
He's
triple.
doing it.
I saw that coming.
All right, bring it out, Bob.
I'm taking the triple because my thing is this. I mean, it's just me. I'm going home to me. I'm
You
going
are
home to no
tired.
kids. Tired. But I already do that now. I'm grinding every single day. You telling me I can keep grinding the way I'm grinding right now and get triple my money?
Here's what you're not thinking about. You're not going to meet someone if you're working 365 days straight.
Well, why not? It's social media day and
Look,
time,
if
brother.
you
I can
meet
get
them,
creative.
you have no time to spend with them.
For this
meet me
first,
at the
first
office.
year, but I guarantee you, the future wife gonna be like, "Baby, you was working hard."
You would age like a president in office if you worked a year straight. You're going to come out of that with a white beard,
That might be
trying
nice,
to get a
though.
date.
That might be distinguished.
Yo, I'm gonna come out tired, but I'm gonna come out with a lot of money
All right.
that I can invest, that I can build something.
Take your friends out with.
And I'm gonna eat it like this.
Me and
I ain't
George gonna
taking
be
y'all out
relaxed.
because y'all done had 365 days off.
That's
y'all
true.
should have been out a lot.
We'll
y'all
send
should
you
have traveled the
photos of
world.
us at restaurants.
Please do. And then the next year, I'm gonna send you photos at better restaurants. Yo, Thank you all so much, man. This is something new that I'm trying out for this month. And if you like it, if you think we should continue doing this, having a conversation at the table, please let me know. I want to thank my producer, Connor and Lindsay. They're inside the studio right there. Boom. I want to thank my social media lady who's helping me out with everything, Catherine. Boom. I want to thank my photographer, Seth, who's in the studio right now, but you can't see him. Yo, it's your boy Anthony ONeal. Thank you all so much for rocking with us, and we're going to see you in the next video next week. Come back to the table because we want to talk. Peace out.